Philadelphia, a city of history, a city of liberty, a city where the past and present intertwine seamlessly, a city etched in the story of America, where every corner whispers tales of revolution and freedom. Tourists flock here, drawn to the Liberty Bell's iconic crack and the echoes of Independence Hall, seeking to touch the essence of American independence. But beyond the polished facades and curated narratives lies another Philadelphia, one that is often overlooked. A city grappling with a crisis hidden in plain sight, where the shadows tell a different story. This is the story of Philadelphia's opioid epidemic, a battle fought on the streets every day. A story of despair and resilience, of loss and hope, where communities come together to fight back. It's a story we must confront, not just for Philadelphia, but for every community ravaged by this crisis, a call to action for us all. We must look beyond the postcards and acknowledge the reality of addiction on our streets. The contrast is stark, yet undeniable. While visitors celebrate freedom, a different kind of fight rages in Philadelphia's underbelly, a fight for life and dignity, a fight for survival against a relentless enemy, opioid addiction, a battle that demands our attention and compassion. This is the story of two Philadelphias existing side by side, each with its own struggles and triumphs. One, a beacon of history, a symbol of what has been achieved. The other, a stark reminder of the human cost of a crisis we can no longer ignore, a call to action for a better future. Kensington, once a thriving working-class neighborhood, now synonymous with the opioid epidemic's grip on Philadelphia. The streets bear witness to the crisis. Discarded needles litter the sidewalks, a stark reminder of lives consumed by addiction. The air hangs heavy with a sense of despair. People huddle on street corners, their bodies ravaged by addiction. The vacant stares and slow, deliberate movements speak volumes of the drug's control. Open-air drug use is rampant. Dealers operate in broad daylight, their business fueled by desperation. The cycle of addiction spins relentlessly, trapping generations in its web. Kensington is a microcosm of the opioid crisis, a raw and unflinching portrait of the epidemic's toll on communities. It's a place where hope struggles to survive amidst the despair, a stark reminder of the urgent need for intervention and compassion. The Liberty Bell tolls, its message of freedom echoing through the streets of Philadelphia. Tourists gather, snapping photos, their laughter a stark contrast to the silent suffering just blocks away. The city's iconic landmarks stand tall, symbols of a proud past. But in the shadows of these monuments, a different reality unfolds. The opioid crisis casts a long shadow, dividing the city into two distinct worlds. Cobblestone streets, once bustling with merchants and revolutionaries, now bear witness to a different kind of struggle. The struggle for survival against an insidious enemy that knows no boundaries. Philadelphia's story is a tale of two cities. One, a vibrant tapestry of history and culture. The other, scarred by the opioid epidemic's relentless grip. It's a city grappling with its identity, forced to reconcile its celebrated past with the harsh realities of the present. Amidst the despair, a glimmer of hope emerges. The city of Philadelphia, long plagued by the opioid crisis, is beginning to see a shift. After years of steady increase, Philadelphia's overdose death rate is finally declining. This marks a significant change in a city that has been at the epicenter of the opioid epidemic. The numbers, though still alarmingly high, offer a glimmer of hope in the fight against the opioid epidemic. Communities are beginning to feel a cautious sense of optimism. This decline is attributed in part to the increased availability of naloxone, a life-saving medication that reverses opioid overdoses. Naloxone has become a critical tool in the hands of first responders. First responders and community groups are now armed with this critical tool, saving lives on the front lines of the crisis. Their efforts are making a tangible difference. Changes in drug use patterns, such as a shift from injecting to smoking opioids, have also contributed to the decline in fatalities. This shift, while reducing immediate overdose deaths, presents new challenges. However, this shift does not signify a decrease in addiction, but rather a change in consumption methods. The underlying issues of addiction remain pervasive. While the declining overdose rates offer a glimmer of hope, the crisis is far from over. The community continues to mourn the lives lost and fight for those still struggling. The need for comprehensive solutions, including increased access to treatment and recovery services, remains as urgent as ever. Only through a multifaceted approach can lasting change be achieved. Section 5. The color of crisis: racial disparities in overdoses. The opioid crisis does not affect all communities equally. Racial disparities are evident in the grim statistics of overdose deaths. Black Philadelphians are dying at a disproportionately higher rate than their white counterparts. This disparity highlights the systemic inequalities that exacerbate the opioid crisis in marginalized communities. Limited access to healthcare, economic disparities, and historical trauma all contribute to the vulnerability of black communities to opioid addiction. Addressing these racial disparities is crucial in effectively combating the opioid crisis. It requires a targeted approach that acknowledges and addresses the unique challenges faced by communities of color. The fight against the opioid epidemic cannot be won unless it addresses the systemic racism that perpetuates these devastating disparities. It's time to acknowledge and dismantle the structures that fuel this crisis in marginalized communities. Section 6. Xylazine, fueling a different kind of wound. The opioid crisis is evolving, taking on new and more sinister forms. Xylazine, a powerful animal tranquilizer, has infiltrated the drug supply, adding a new layer of danger to an already deadly epidemic. Known as tranq or zombie drug, xylazine is often mixed with fentanyl, creating a potent and unpredictable cocktail. Its effects are devastating, causing severe tissue damage, leading to gruesome wounds that are difficult to treat. The presence of xylazine complicates the already challenging task of treating opioid overdoses. Naloxone, the life-saving medication used to reverse opioid overdoses, is ineffective against xylazine, making overdoses even more difficult to manage. The emergence of xylazine in the drug supply underscores the ever-evolving nature of the opioid crisis. It demands a proactive approach to drug monitoring and harm reduction strategies to mitigate the devastating consequences of this dangerous adulterant. Section 7. Harm reduction, a beacon of hope. Amidst the despair, harm reduction strategies offer a beacon of hope. These evidence-based approaches aim to reduce the negative consequences of drug use, meeting people where they are at in their addiction. Naloxone distribution programs are crucial in combating overdose deaths. By making this life-saving medication readily available to people who use drugs and their loved ones, lives are being saved every day. Supervised consumption sites provide a safe and hygienic environment for people to use drugs under medical supervision, preventing overdoses and connecting individuals with treatment and support services. Harm reduction is not about condoning drug use. It's about recognizing that addiction is a complex health issue that requires a compassionate and pragmatic approach. It's about saving lives and offering a pathway to recovery. Section 8. The long road ahead, beyond survival. While declining overdose rates offer a glimmer of hope, the crisis is far from over. The opioid epidemic has left an indelible mark on Philadelphia, and the road to recovery is long and arduous. The need for comprehensive treatment and recovery services remains paramount. Access to affordable healthcare, mental health support, and housing are crucial in supporting individuals on their journey to recovery. The stigma surrounding addiction continues to be a significant barrier to seeking help. It's time to shift the narrative from blame and shame to one of compassion and understanding. The opioid crisis is a complex issue that demands a multifaceted approach. It requires a commitment from policymakers, healthcare providers, and communities to work together to address the root causes of addiction and provide support for those affected. Section 9. A call to action: break the silence. The opioid crisis thrives in the shadows, fueled by silence and stigma. It festers in the dark corners of our society where fear and misunderstanding keep it hidden. It's time to break the silence and shed light on this hidden epidemic that continues to plague our communities. We must bring it out of the shadows and into the open. Educate yourself about the realities of addiction. Understand that it is a disease, not a moral failing. Challenge your own biases and prejudices. Recognize that anyone can be affected, regardless of background or circumstance. Talk to your friends and family about this crisis. Open dialogue can break down barriers and foster understanding. Share stories of hope and resilience. Personal testimonies can inspire others and show that recovery is possible. Support organizations working tirelessly on the front lines of this crisis. They need our help to continue their vital work. Donate your time, resources, or simply lend a listening ear. Every contribution, no matter how small, can make a significant impact. Every act of compassion, no matter how small, makes a difference. Kindness can be a powerful tool in the fight against addiction. Together we can break the cycle of addiction and create a future where every life is valued and every person has the opportunity to heal and thrive. Our collective efforts can bring about real change. The time to act is now. We cannot afford to wait any longer. Let our voices rise above the silence and demand action. We must be loud and clear in our call for change. The lives of our loved ones, our neighbors, and our communities depend on it. Together, we can make a difference.